Hi, in this quick demo, I'm going to show you how Cusna works with Meraki, walking you through the Meraki setup, the Cusna dashboard, and showcasing the end-user experience. Let's get started from the setup of your Meraki network and the Cusna account. To get started, open your Meraki dashboard and go to the page that lists all the SSIDs. Here, in this case, we have three SSIDs, one for secure Wi-Fi access via .1x or passpoint, one for guest Wi-Fi access via captive portals, and the last one is the one that I've already created for Cusna that relies on the identity PSK without radius. Let's explore the settings of this SSID to see how you should configure your SSID. So in the security section, just select identity PSK without radius. You don't have to add any identity PSK right now. Actually, we advise to do not manage PSKs manually in this section because Cusna will automate the entire process. Next, make sure that you enable the Wi-Fi personal network, the WPN option that enables isolation of traffic at layer 3. Next, you need to create an API key. Go to API and Webhooks and click Generate API Key. Meraki allows you to create only 2 keys per account. In this case, I have already used mine. When you click Generate API Key, make sure to save the generated key because the Meraki dashboard is going to show it to you only once. Next, let's configure your Cusna account. We are starting from a new empty account with just some mock data. The first step is to connect Cusna with your Meraki account. By clicking here, you reach directly the integration page where you can simply pick Meraki in the Wi-Fi vendor dropdown. You need to enter the Meraki API key, and once you have entered it, you can select the organization that you work with and hit Save. Optionally, if your use case can benefit from other authentication methods such as EP2 Enterprise and Passpoint, you can enable the integration with Cloud4Y. We'll see later how users can get credentials for this service. In order to set up Cloud4Y, you need to enter the organization ID, the API key, and the API secret. Next, you need to create at least one network policy that will be used as reference for initializing group policies in the Meraki dashboard. You can set bandwidth restrictions and assign a VLAN to this policy. Before getting started, there are also some general account options to be configured in the general setting page. Here, the first option relates to the ability to enable units management, which allow to assign access points to units, and once a user is associated with a unit, the Ethernet port of the access point will be automatically in network with the devices connected via the IPSK. Then, if you set up the integration with Cloud4Y, here you can decide if user will see their .1x credentials in the Wi-Fi portal, as well as the link to download a Passpoint profile on Android and Apple devices. The email domain whitelist option allows users with email matching certain domains to self-onboard directly without any manual provisioning. For example, this could be an effective way to onboard employees in a company. Some other options in this page allows to customize certain behaviors of the Wi-Fi portal, the portal that the user can reach to visualize their own Wi-Fi passphrase, and here you can decide if you want to let them change this passphrase or not. You can also let users enable and disable a dedicated password for guests. Finally, the last section includes some details about compliance, such as the privacy policy. Remember, you're going to be the controller and the owner of the data, so it's important to make sure you inform users about their privacy rights. Here, you can also change branding preferences for your organization, including the main logo and the accent color that will be used in all user-facing interfaces. Once finalized the general settings, you can get started by creating your first location. Creating a location is very easy. You can give it a name and an address, and optionally, you can provision a location manager. Location managers are allowed to only handle the user account's provisioning on one or multiple locations. Next, you need to link this location to the equivalent network in Meraki. Let's pick a network and then select an SSID available on this network. If you select an SSID which is not properly configured to work with Cusna, you will get an alert. In this case, we also enable the Cloud4Y integration, so you need to select the matching location in your Cloud4Y account and select the SSID that will be used for connecting clients via VP2 Enterprise or Passpoint. You can now optionally further localize the content of the Wi-Fi portal for this specific location, for example, personalizing the welcome message. At this point, for each location, you can get a dedicated Wi-Fi portal link that you can distribute manually or different channels to the end users. Note that every time you create a location in Cusna, the system also automatically initialized in the Meraki dashboard a group policy for each network policy that you define in the Cusna dashboard in the integration page. Now, let's initialize units. Go to the unit page and click Create Unit. Select a location, enter a reference name for the unit, and finally, select the hardware that you want to associate to this unit. Please note that right now, Cusna only supports the MR36H access point. By associating an access point to a unit, Cusna also automatically initializes the port profile for this network in the Meraki dashboard and assigns it to the selected access point. Please note also that initially, the ports are not tagged with any WPN identifier. The next step is to create accounts. The first way to create accounts is to initialize them manually. Go to the account page and click Add New Account. First, we pick the location that we just created. Then you can select among different types of accounts. The difference between them is mainly related to the provisioning data and to the fact that for non-human-related accounts, you need to define manually a Wi-Fi passphrase. In this example, we are going to pick the type tenant and then associate a unit to this account. Next, let's enter some reference details for this tenant, including the email address, first name, last name optionally. You then need to pick a network policy. That could be the default one associated to the location, or you can select a custom one if you initialize them in the general settings. Finally, you can decide the activation date. That could be now, or you can schedule it in the future, as well as the termination that can be manual, or you can schedule it in a future date. As soon as you hit Create Account, Cusna will start the provisioning of the IPSK in the Meraki system, and as soon as this is done, you will see the tag service status turning from pending to active. You can easily check in the Meraki dashboard that IPSK has been provisioned on the dedicated SSID by going to the SSID, click Edit Setting, and then under the IPSK configuration, you will find the table with the list of the IPSK just created. If you look at the PSK, it matches with the one associated to this account. When employing the manual account provisioning, the user will receive an invitation email that informs them that the account is now active with a link to the Wi-Fi portal. The Wi-Fi portal prompts the user to enter its email address. If the email is valid and associated to an active account, the user will receive another email with a magic link to directly log in into the Wi-Fi portal. On the first login, the user is prompted to accept the term and condition and the privacy policy. And then he lands on the Wi-Fi portal where he can see the Wi-Fi passphrase, he can change it, he can access the secure Wi-Fi network credentials if enabled through the Cloud4Y integration, and the ability to enable a guest Wi-Fi passphrase for guests. In the personal menu, you can also see if there is any termination date scheduled. The passphrase can be copied, can be changed, and if you switch back to the Cusna dashboard, you can see that this passphrase matches with the one assigned to this user. You can also double check in the Meraki dashboard. If you go to the SSID configuration and you refresh the page, you will see that now there are two different PSK. One, the main one for the tenant, and then there is a guest passphrase. There are other options for creating accounts and empower self-onboarding processes. The first one is to leverage the integration with external identity management platforms such as property management system, co-working space management platform, or with IDPs such as Microsoft Azure Active Directory or Google Workspace. In this case, another simple option is to rely on the email domain whitelist so that all users with email with these domains can self-sign up through the Wi-Fi portal directly. In this case, you just need to retrieve the URL of the Wi-Fi portal of your location and distribute it to your users via different channels, such as email. Users can now go to the portal, and for the purpose of this demo, I'm using a different browser to do not interfere with the main logged-in session. Users will put their own email address, and Cusna automatically creates the account in the system and on the Meraki dashboard. And in this case, I use a cloudforward.com domain, which is whitelisted in the general options. The user at this point will receive a notification email that the account is active, and directly also the one-click login message with the link to the portal. Since this is the first login, the user will be prompted to accept the privacy policy, and in this case also to enter the first and last name since they are missing. As seen before, then the user can access its own personal passphrase, secure Wi-Fi credentials, and create passwords for guests.